Talk about premature. This guy.
I haven't said anything.
Yeah, well, you hadn't done anything yet either.
Live from New York,
so much better.
it's the show that is back from the dead. It's First Things First today. NFL kickoff, Chiefs-Ravens.
Oh.
How much pressure is Lamar under in a game that many are calling must win? Meanwhile, in New England, the Patriots draft pick, Drake May, has a lot to work on. Quote, does this mean Drake is the only first-round QB sitting?
Well, I think Michael
Besides Penix. Besides Penix. And finally, the grand reopening of Club Superstar. We've got a lot of apparatuses, let's just say. I was kept in the dark on this one.
You and me both.
I was just
we have. This is true for the audience. We have no idea who's going to be on.
A lot of times we say we don't know.
Yeah.
We actually know.
We really don't know.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't look at the rundown as much, but I usually know.
I like
but this
to
time,
show up,
really
kind of ad lib.
Chris Broussard, Kevin Wildes, Nick. Any surprises in Club Superstar? I think there's going to be a lot.
Tons of surprises. There is, let me put it like this. Good thing the club doesn't have a height limit.
Wow.
Oh.
Well, it's NBA.
That's a pretty good hit.
It'd be an odd club.
I
would be
odd. I think there's a curveball coming.
We start with, well, look who's back. Some people are claiming the series was over, and some people are claiming Denver was going to be swept.
Who were those people? You were tweeting about them too.
Nobody
Who were
claimed
they?
that.
The only one is
We said it's on the board, and it was.
Right. The only one
was on
who
the
said it
board.
was happening was your dear friend Bill Simmons. Aside from
Not
that,
outside of FS1. I read for all sports media.
Okay.
Nevertheless, true story. Michael Malone compiled all of those takes.
Oh God.
Showed them to his team, and is now headed back to Denver. I hope so.
I
might have been
think
the
you were
star
with the
of that
sandwich.
With the series tied at 2, here's Malone.
What I found is Rudy T is right, man. Never underestimate the heart of a champion. Yeah, I mean, like they were quick to write us off, but these guys, we won a championship a year ago. You know what I mean? We went into Miami, won 2 games in a row. Like, this team has been tested time and time again, and we found a way to solve whatever's been thrown at us. This series is a long way from being over. We're not celebrating. It's 2-2. So now you have to find a way to win Game 5. But what I found about our group is that they do believe.
Yeah, 90% correct, except that last part about it not being over. Brew, are you surprised Denver won both games? You must be. Okay, sure.
I wasn't surprised, Wildes.
Don't do it.
I was thunderstruck, aghast. I was aghast. All right. Now let me say this. You didn't know that was coming. Let me shout out the Nuggets, because they did show heart of a champion.
That's correct.
They not only had to fight through the mental anguish and probably surprise on their part of being down 0-2 at home or going on the road, but what looked like, Nick, a physical disadvantage, right? It looked like Minnesota's athleticism just overwhelmed them.
Yeah.
All right, so credit to them for fighting through that. And I got to give them credit. The first 2 games, they shot 40% from the floor. We had Antonio Daniels, NBA champion, on our radio show, The Odd Couple.
7 to
10 Eastern. He said last week, and I tended to agree, he said, I don't see a lot of adjustments that they can make, because it looked like they were just being overwhelmed athletically.
Strong take.
Obviously, well, they came out and made some adjustments, shot 55%.
Yeah, making all the shots is a great
That helps. That helps.
It's a great, no, I agree.
And I got to give Jamal Murray credit, too, because he, number one, didn't play well in the first 2 games and has been struggling in the playoffs to a large degree. Obviously, some game winners outside of that's been struggling. And he has the calf injury that looks like it's pretty good now. And, of course, the controversy that he deserved. And you wonder, will Minnesota fans, if they lose this series, say, he shouldn't have even been playing with Game 6. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
So dangerous.
Well, my point is,
Impact was on the floor.
He shouldn't
have been playing. But that's
agreed with that.
Ticking time bomb out there.
You agreed with that.
The towel was near the baseline.
I'm not going to use that, but I'm just saying, credit to him for he stepped up big. And you're being guarded by Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels, and at times Mike Conley.
And he has time for the media after he steps up, which is
well,
nice as well.
Yeah, when he steps up, he loves to talk.
Yeah.
So I want to shout them out. I will say this, Game 3, you wonder the T-Wolves, young superstar that's your best player. Your veterans haven't really, don't have a ton of experience going deep in the playoffs. They look like they were probably feeling themselves. They had gone 6-0 through a legendary, even if those guys aren't as great now, legendary team in Phoenix as far as Durant and Booker, and now the defending champions on their floor. But Game 4, there's no such excuse. They were ready, they were alert, and they just got beat. So this is a great series now.
That was fantastic analysis. And you spoke to the mental anguish of being down 0-2. I thought, and Michael Malone spoke to the character of the team, that they're champions. I thought there was a big sort of remember who we are, because Jamal was, out of character. He's supposed to be super clutch, and he felt pressure, and he was throwing stuff. And Michael Malone showed in that video, was like, not only are we champions, we're also gentlemen.
Oh, okay.
You know what they did? Oh, it's a little bit.
It's not going to be a gentleman's sweep.
Yeah, it doesn't even make sense.
Why not?
Because it'll be 6 or 7
Right,
games.
it doesn't even make sense.
What about starting on Friday? Well, gentleman doesn't argue, but regardless. Dusty, if you could come out, I just want to tell you what happened.
Oh, no, bro.
Dust?
You know what happened?
Bro.
Oh, thanks, Dust.
Oh, no.
Denver went into Minnesota. They knocked on the door. Said, excuse us. You might have some gentlemen join you here? Do you mind if we come into your house and put our feet up? I'm not going to go towards you. That's kind of rude.
Are
you go
you
this
that
way.
limber? Oh, wow.
Nice socks.
Put your feet up.
What a doofus.
Go make yourself a sandwich. That's for the Wi-Fi password. Then change it. Change it to gentleman.
This doesn't make sense.
You should have made it
Why
a
not?
glass of
Because
wine
it's not a
and a charcuterie.
Because it doesn't. But it also just
charcuterie and a glass of wine.
narratively doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I know you would think that.
Okay, go ahead.
It's grown beyond that. So here's how Denver played in the first 2 games. Not too well. You look at the full screen. And then the last 2 games, ooh.
Yeah, they played.
51 points from the dynamic duo, shooting over 50% from the field. 3-pointers still down. We still have more meat on the bone there. And then, of course, it's the end of the second half where I tried to FaceTime you, since that's a famous time you like to FaceTime me.
Not.
Well, my FaceTime's not working. Then Anthony Edwards, Michael Jordan of our era, I guess, he turns the ball over. And then let's try this. Let's try to get a quick 2. Oh, it doesn't work. And then right from front of Kevin Harlan, bang. So not only did that lose them the game, obviously, the question to you is this, Nick, or you can answer this one. I'm a gentleman. Do what you like.
This little sequence?
Well, this may have cost them.
I mean, it might have cost them the game. It might have cost them the game. I mean, it's 8-0 run in 20 seconds. They lose by 8. But go ahead. Is that the question?
I thought it was larger than that. I think that will be the defining moment of this series.
Well, okay.
They
So, but
lose,
here's
you
the
could go
thing.
there.
It is very, very difficult. And I don't mean to be rude, but to take either of your analysis of this series seriously.
How dare you?
Because
Mine
if you
was
guys,
straight-
does
mine
the
was
audience
ridiculous.
remember
At full screens.
what my pick for the series was?
No.
You didn't make a
Exactly.
pick.
Because
Don't you have Denver in the
fouled out.
finals?
Hold on.
Luka in the
finals?
No, I have Luka in the
Unbelievably.
finals. It was like a late night election, too close to call. And you, on the other hand, were all cocksure that Denver was going to not be tested and then in shambles. You had your feet up on the table and saying it was over and now it's a good series. Meanwhile, it has been exactly what I thought it would be. A series that's going to go 7 and going to come down to the fourth quarter of that game 7.
Wow.
We'll see who
We
wins
don't know
it.
what you thought
Right,
it was
because I
going
still
to
don't know. It's still too close to call. I just know that you right now are way too confident.
I disagree.
Wait, for twofold. One is your gentleman stuff, which does not make sense.
Starting on Friday.
So you have them losing again?
Maybe.
So
A
again,
gentleman
it doesn't
write
no,
off
it just
the
doesn't make
losses,
sense. But
right?
I don't even.
A gentleman doesn't act like the law. You accept
honestly,
it.
Well, a gentleman doesn't argue, so maybe you're
Drew,
right.
I don't think we should embrace this gentleman character a second further. But the other thing is, your tweet this morning also. Can we show it to the audience, Brew? Because you missed it. He's, I think, talking to you.
I'm talking to a lot of people.
But Who are those people that promised a sweep?
Oh, a gentleman
And-
never names
okay,
names.
He can't be talking about me. I don't follow.
No,
him.
but you
know that.
also didn't promise a sweep. So I would like to do one thing, though, which is sincerely and earnestly give Jokic credit for last night.
Oh, yeah.
Because Game 3 didn't shock me. Because there is a natural inclination where one team is playing for its absolute life,
Right.
and the other team feels like it's not only that you're up 2-0, you're up 2-0 and you've stolen 2 road games. You're going to let down the intensity. That wasn't shocking.
That's true.
Game 4, while the end of the first half was critical, no doubt about it, the difference in that game among some disappointing performances by some Minnesota guys we'll get to was Jokic said, nah, not on my watch. And that is the type of thing I was talking about on Thursday that I wanted to see. That when we were talking about the MVPs getting swept in the year they win MVP, MVPs going out early in the postseason meekly. It's not supposed to happen. Unfortunately, it's happened to Jokic a couple times already in his career that I wanted to see some resistance. And his form of resistance was he played a game that I think is not the style of game he likes to play, which is I'm going to take a bunch of shots.
Right, he looked to score.
He looked to score,
Great point.
and he was outstanding. Now, I am not as certain as you are, Wilds, because I don't know that Aaron Gordon's going to keep shooting 70, 60 splits. I don't know that he is.
Sure.
And there's no one to me on the Nuggets, on the Timberwolves right now that's playing out of their mind in that.
How many points did Anthony Edwards
in that
have
regard?
last
Well, I think
night?
Anthony Edwards
40
can
plus?
keep up this level that he's done for the
33
series.
points a game.
I think he can average around 35 a game. I think he
Okay.
can. Just like I think Jokic can keep up what he's doing. And so I think this is a really good close series, and I think that Jokic last night, even if they lose the series, prevented this from being an embarrassing moment. Had they gotten swept, that's an embarrassing moment. You get swept by a 22-year-old when you're the defending champs in round 2. There's no scenario now where this is like a real black mark on
But I do
Jokic.
think if they lose, I mean, I hear you. Obviously, you don't want to get swept. But if they lose, it's still like it's